Hi, I'm Jen, founder of Mummy Tummy Fitness and pre and postnatal fitness specialist. And if you've come this far, you're probably pregnant and you're wondering how your pregnancy will affect your fitness regime. And hopefully, you're wondering how your fitness regime will affect your pregnancy. Um, Nowadays, when we talk about fitness during pregnancy, people fall into one of two camps and talk about two extremes of the spectrum. So some people are saying that you shouldn't do anything more than walking and yoga. You shouldn't lift anything more than a 3 pound dumbbell. And on the other hand, we have people saying you can do anything you did before pregnancy. Pregnant women can do everything. And therefore, we have lots of women running marathons during pregnancy or doing very intense CrossFit workouts or lifting very heavy weights. Or doing very, very intense cardio like HIIT training during their pregnancy. And the truth is that it's not really black and white like that, and that the truth lies kind of in that gray area in between. And we know nowadays that that first and foremost, exercise is extremely important for the health of the mother and of the baby, but also that not as much, besides the very extreme forms of exercise, not as much damage is caused, is not damage to the fetus isn't so as much of a reality as we thought it was. And rather the damage in many forms of exercise that are considered moderate forms of exercise during pregnancy, like going out for a gentle jog for half an hour. Nowadays, we're not so worried about what that will do to the fetus. That may well have very beneficial effects for the fetus. But for the mother, the consequences of that can be quite heavy when we look at her pelvic floor or potential damage to the abdominal muscles. So, and or to her joints as well. The hormones that are circulating around her system at this time weaken all of her joints and connective tissue. So there are some forms of exercise that can cause injury in the mother that we're much more concerned about nowadays. Like I said, those extreme forms, the very extreme forms of exercise aside. And so everything about training during pregnancy is about weighing up the risks versus benefits, because there are always risks and there are always benefits. So we really need to be looking at those two and deciding for ourselves whether it's worth the risk. At the end of the day, it's your body and you're the one who makes the final decision on what you do and don't do. So in terms of kind of like the priorities for training during pregnancy, firstly, we really want to maintain the integrity of the pelvic floor and the so-called core muscles, as well as avoiding and preventing any other injury to any joints or anything like that in the body, creating back pain and things like that. That should be in my opinion, the most important thing. I see so many women who've had babies who suffer from pelvic floor dysfunction and anything from kind of like mild leaking to very severe pelvic organ prolapse. And it's really, really important to do everything that we can to avoid any catastrophes like that during pregnancy, so that after pregnancy, you can recover as quickly as possible from the pregnancy and get back to living your life and cope with the demands of motherhood. The second priority is building strength. The number one complaint that I hear from both pregnant women and mothers is that they just feel so weak. They feel like they've lost so much strength. And despite what we're told about not lifting more than a 3 pound dumbbell, pregnant women often have to pick up young children who weigh who weigh up to and above 20 kilos sometimes. They're sometimes having to, when they're heavily pregnant, having to pull a toddler out of a car at a really odd angle and put them down to sleep. If you want to look at it in just a really sexist way, they're having to carry shopping bags and laundry baskets and things like that. So, then what good is a 3-pound dumbbell going to do us in a gym? Women are lifting heavy weights, and we have to, or relatively heavy weights, and we have to teach them how to do that safely, and we have to teach them how, and we have to build strength in the time that we're in the gym so that they can cope with those demands, feel strong, and ultimately not cause injury. Going back to the first priority, we should also be looking to maintain decent cardiovascular fitness. Just like strength and muscle mass, this is going to decrease over the course of the pregnancy, especially as you get heavier. The demands on your system are just way higher, but we do want to maintain some level of cardiovascular fitness. We want to, like, the fourth priority is maintaining range of motion in all of the joints, and relative flexibility. Many women get really tight lower backs or really tight hamstrings, really tight hip flexors, really tight chests, and their arms get internally rotated. So we want to do everything we can to maintain the full range of motion of all of those joints, because when they get really tight and closed up, that's when injury occurs, again going back to that first priority, and that's when aches and pains come about, and that's something that pulls us out of alignment. Number 5, we just want you to feel good. We want you leaving the gym feeling better than when you went in. Exercise releases endorphins. We all know this. It makes you feel good. It relieves stress. It lifts your mood, and that's really, really important. Not just elevating your mood, but keeping you healthy. We all know exercise is healthy, so we need to do that in a way that doesn't damage you, and that helps you meet the demands of pregnancy and motherhood. And finally, related to but separate from the others, is we want to maintain good posture and alignment and correct breathing mechanics throughout the course of the entire pregnancy and beyond, because that's going to be the basis of keeping our core and pelvic floor strong. Without that, everything starts to kind of fall away. So it's really about a holistic approach, a bit of strength training, a bit of cardio training, a bit of flexibility and mobility, and also with a focus on breathing mechanics and things like that, pulling from lots of different areas, and keeping you as healthy and as happy as possible, keeping your baby as healthy and as happy as possible, and setting you up for a healthy birth and subsequently a healthy postpartum period where you'll have minimal, if no, injury, to help you recover from that, to help you recover quickly and get back to feeling you and adjusting to that postpartum period, and get you back into doing whatever it is that you love to do. So if that sounds interesting to you, if it sounds in line with what you want for yourself and for your body and for your baby, then I'd love to hear from you. Send me a message, send me any questions, and I'd love to help you through this time of your life.